So hello and welcome to Spirituality and Aging at Ruth's House. We are having a Ruth's House Lunch and Learn exclusive. I hope everyone is staying well through all things COVID, and happy fall. Of course, today is our first full day of fall 2020. We appreciate you being here and hope you have some great takeaways from the presentation. Rabbi Jacobson will include how our spiritual practice is impacted by the COVID virus. I also want to thank you in advance for your patience if we experience any technical difficulties, as this is only our second time doing this virtually. Normally it's hosted at Ruth's house, so for that I thank you. Some housekeeping items. This will be interactive. At first, you will actually be muted, but we are going to have you have the ability to unmute yourself so you can ask questions. You could also raise your hand. If you actually look at one of the reactions, you could raise a hand, and there will be Q&A at the end. We will try to get to as many questions as we can. Once I'm finished, my co-host Christina Tui will then give you a quick virtual tour of our beautiful assisted living residence, Ruth's House, since of course, again, it usually is hosted there. Christina will introduce Rabbi Jacobson. Rabbi will present. We will have a Q&A segment. And then I know there's an ongoing question during this pandemic for all healthcare facilities of how we're keeping your loved ones safe. So therefore, I'm going to show you a short 3-minute video to let you see our safety precaution efforts, while of course I pick a raffle winner for all the attendees. Now, I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to give you a quick campus overview, since I hear all too often that folks don't realize what we have on our 23-acre campus. So if you give me a second, let me share screen. Okay, so this is the campus. So 23 acres, and we've got a whole family of services, as you can see, and I'll quickly run through them. Oh, wait a minute, somebody in the waiting, hold on. Oh, okay, so I will quickly run through. We have Levitt Family Jewish Home, 24-hour skilled nursing home, including long-term care, rehabilitation, and a secure memory care neighborhood. Sawson Center for Rehabilitation, the first greenhouse model of care in Western Mass, featuring 2 small houses, all private rooms, 12 in each house, all private bathrooms, consistent care teams, all in a home-like setting. And if you look at that picture, that's actually the dining room. So this is the dining room here and the kitchen behind it. It really is truly a home-like setting. Wernick Adult Day Health, your loved one safe and cared for in a dynamic setting, promoting social interaction and stimulation while you are able to work or run errands without worry. This is one of the events we had at Wernick. It was a dance. We've got Spectrum Home Health and Hospice, quality care that comes to you in your own home with a personalized plan for each patient. Of course, each person is different. Genesis House, which is senior independent living with efficiency in 1-bedroom apartments located right on the JGS Life Care campus. And they, of course, have access to our family of services for their continuum of care. Last but not least, Ruth's House Assisted Living, set back away from Converse Street while still nestled among the privacy of the wooded backdrop lies our gorgeous home-like setting for both traditional and memory care residents. And Christina, I will stop sharing while Christina gives a quick tour of Ruth's house.
Sure. So let me pull this up.
Yeah.
So this is a video that I took this summer. I'll have to make a fall version, but just a virtual tour of our facilities. This is our library and lobby area. We have lots of little book nooks hidden throughout the assisted living for our residents to enjoy. This is our dining room that overlooks the garden. One of our mini living rooms, we have 5 throughout the facility for residents to enjoy with their families and loved ones. We do have a salon available by appointment. That came back to us about a month ago through our COVID, so we were very happy. The residents were all very happy to have their salon services back. This is our secured memory garden, a view of our front lawn from one of our balconies. Again, another one of our mini living rooms. This is our activity room. We do lots of group discussions. Actually, Rabbi has a group here that's very active. We have our sunroom, our puzzles, exercise bikes. Downstairs in our memory care, we have a secured unit with a separate dining room and activity room and access to the garden. This is a dining room, so they prep all the meals down there, so they still get the flavors and smells of home cooking, which is great. One of our living rooms downstairs. And this is just an example of one of our studio apartments that we had set up for our respite. We do have respites available, so if you have someone that has family going out of town for the summer or the winter, we can provide a safe place for those loved ones to stay with us. Here's another example of one of our large one-bedroom apartments. This, again, is furnished for a respite. And throughout our facility, so we have 64 units, and again, 42 of those upstairs in our traditional assisted living and 22 downstairs in our secured memory care unit. These all have wonderful views of the forest that we abide up against. So we're on 23 acres. So lots of fun bird watching happens. And that's it. So I am going to pause this and stop sharing. And I have the honor of introducing Rabbi Devorah Jacobson. I'm going to read, oh, sorry about that. I'm going to read this because she's very, oh, you guys, okay, I'm going to keep reading. All right. So Rabbi is the Director of Spiritual Care at JGS Life Care since March 2001 and has been awarded the board certification from National Association of Jewish Chaplains in 2006. From 1982 to 2001, she served as the Hillel Director and Campus Chaplain on various U.S. campuses, such as Williams College, Mount Holyoke, the Claremont Colleges, and Washington University in St. Louis. She received her rabbinic ordination from the Hebrew Union College in 1982 and has a bachelor's from Brandeis University. Currently, she lives in Hadley with her spouse, Margaret. They have a son, Jacob, who is currently living in Tel Aviv. She loves any outdoor sports, especially tennis, hiking, biking, and skiing. So welcome, Rabbi Devorah Jacobson. You have to unmute, Rabbi. Yep.
2020 quote of the year. You're muted.
Yeah. You're muted.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Christina and Mary Ann. I'm grateful to you and grateful for the opportunity to speak with colleagues, many of us working in healthcare, many of us working in settings with elders. And as has been said, I'm hoping this will be somewhat interactive. And I find that it's often more fun and more meaningful if we can have an exchange and a conversation. So just want to check and make sure everybody can hear me. Can folks hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Thumbs up.
Good.
Okay.
Now, Christina, explain to them how to do a split screen. So we're going to do the presentation. Yeah, you got to unmute.
So if you want to see all of our lovely faces on the side while still viewing the slideshow, you go up to the green where it says you are viewing Mary Ann Shelb's screen, click View Options, and then select all the way at the bottom side-by-side mode.
So just to start out, if everyone can grab a pencil, a pen, pencil, and a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to write down some of your thoughts as they relate to spirituality. So we'll take a minute for you to go and get a pen and a piece of paper.
Nice. Yeah, we've got a couple people that left their chairs. They're getting that pen and paper. Okay.
So our topic for today is spirituality and aging. And as I thought about it, this is a topic that applies to all of us at every stage of life. And I think we'll see how we can make those connections between what I'm saying about spirituality and elders. We can make the connections from focusing on that particular group to really spreading it out and seeing that what we say really applies to most of us throughout our lifetime. What is spirituality is the first question. So if you were to just ignore that slide and just on your own, if somebody asked you, what is spirituality, and what are some components that you think are important when we talk about spirituality? What would you say? What would be part of your own definition of spirituality? So let's take a minute to think about that, and I'm gonna try to play a little music in the background while we take a minute. Okay. So the music really didn't want to play. So let's go back to our split screen. Yeah, we're typing. You can either type in your responses or just write them on a piece of paper, either way. Maybe we'll take another few seconds to do that.
We were all so deeply saddened to hear about the mess.
So I hope you're able to hear that. That was from the book of Psalms with the Hebrew words, thanking God for life, thanking God for the various ways we can praise God and celebrate life. So what is spirituality is the question I'm posing to you. And let's see if anybody has put anything in the chat to start with. Okay, so I see from Michael. Michael says faith in something bigger than you, living your best life and treating others the way you wish to be treated. Okay, thank you for that, Michael. Eileen, meaning of experiences, connection to others and the larger world. That still small voice within. That's great. Anybody else want to share your own approach and thoughts about spirituality? And just unmute.
I would say, what is your concept of God, and how is God a part of your everyday life?
Okay, so you're mentioning the word God. Mm-hmm. So spirituality and the connection to God, to the divine. Thank you. Anybody else?
I would say what I specifically wrote is a belief in just some kind of higher power that we can either tangibly or intangibly see. I'm not a very religious person, but I do love saints, since I actually have the saint Thea right next to me on my wall, and she's the patron saint of mental health.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. So again, referring to a deity, to God, higher power, and a sense of connection to that higher power that really does some important things for you internally. Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Anybody else?
I had several things come to mind. I wrote down the greater meaning of life, that which feeds our inner soul and well-being.
Yep.
And I thought of values and ethics and purpose and faith.
Thank you. So meaning, I want to underscore the word meaning that you've used. Inner, I think you said inner life or inner soul.
That which feeds our inner soul and our well-being.
Yep, good.
Meaning of life. I also think of nature.
Thank you. All of these are going to be very relevant. Thank you. Anybody else want to add anything? Let's see, Carol. Hi, Carol Casertello. Where each individual finds, hold on, personal way in which each individual person relates to God, and through that relationship relates to people and the world at large. Where each individual finds herself or himself within the universe and among all other people. Okay, that's jam-packed with a lot. Thank you so much. Starting with the individual and how they relate out to God, to others, to the universe. Thank you. Anyone else? Christina, a connection to something bigger. Yes, in theological terms, we have a fancy word, we call that transcendence, connecting to something bigger than myself. Thank you. Anybody else?
Of course, Rabbi, I can't chat while I'm sharing, but a connection to your higher self, the perfect version of yourself, your godlike.
Thank you. Thank you. Higher self. Some people use the phrase better self. Others are directed inward, your inner self, the core of who I truly am. Let's see, Susan has added, Susan Wilson, sense of being, a fitting in the world. Yes, very good. I would add, sense of well-being. Yeah, fitting in the world. I like that a lot. Anyone else? Okay, so thank you all for jumping right in and being active in this presentation. I also want to echo what's been said by Mary Ann and Christina, wishing you a happy fall, and those of you who are Jewish, wishing you a Shana Tova, a happy and a sweet, healthy new year, as we've just brought in the new year. So what is spirituality? Let's go to our screen, and in addition to what some of you have added, I've just taken from different places, and really a lot of what you've already said is incorporated here. So very quickly, number one, the word spiritual refers to the domain of human existence that lies beyond the material, that has to do with human flourishing, and that speaks to those aspects of life which give one a sense of meaning, connection, integrity, and hope. Next slide, please. Number two, in general, it includes a sense of connection to something bigger than ourselves. We might call it spirit or soul, the sacred or mystery. It typically involves a search for meaning in life. As such, it is universal human experience, something that includes all of us. Some people talk about it as a sixth sense. We come into the world with this striving. Number three, for some it is synonymous with religion and is primarily about a belief in divinity or God, and active participation in organized religion. And then on the next slide, number four, for many others, it is about experiences that help one connect to his or her deepest and best self, like many of you said, and develop a life that is more intentional, reflective, mindful, that may also result in more inner peace. For some, it is a feeling of oneness with other people, nature, the universe. Mystics often talk about that. One does this through various individual and communal spiritual practices, quiet reflection, talking with friends and family about spiritual matters, deeds of kindness and compassion, study of sacred text, time outdoors in nature, private prayer or meditation, yoga, etc. And I would add, and I tried to give you the sense of it at the beginning, music as a key component of spirituality for many people. Number five, spirituality is the humble exploration of the profound mystery, awe, and beauty of our conscious experience. It is noticing the incredible gifts that surround us in every moment. In Jewish tradition, that's what a bracha, blessing, is all about, and why we are called to recite at least 100 blessings a day. It is a tool to raise consciousness and develop our disposition towards more gratitude. Next. Number six, it is our response to the questions that life asks of each of us at every stage of the human life cycle. Why are we here? What is my purpose? How can I contribute to the betterment of my family, my community, my planet? Number seven, the spiritual journey is the journey of discovering what it means to be human and how to live well from the moment we come into the world until we take our last breath. I think those were some of the definitions and reflections that I found particularly meaningful. Does anybody want to react to any of those or anything that came up for you as you read through those with me? Please feel free to chime in.
Rabbi, I know that as people get older, even some of the people that I know, some of my friends are, really struggling with, especially during COVID, what is my purpose here? What have I achieved? What have I accomplished? So that's something
yes.
that I
yes, at certain points in our lives, some of those questions can become particularly poignant, meaningful, difficult, painful. All kinds of emotions can come up surrounding those questions, particularly at certain times of our lives. Anybody else have any other thoughts as we read through those definitions? I noticed nature was in one of those definitions. I think, Susan, you spoke to that. For some of us, that really is where we most profoundly experience a sense of the spiritual, a sense of, call it God, the divine, whatever you want to call it, where we experience a sense of awe and wonder about our place in this grand universe.
It looks like Carol raised her hand.
Carol.
Yes. Sometimes I've had the privilege of working with residents in a religious context, and some of these words are becoming very helpful to me, because I know that, or I sense that many of them feel that they don't any longer have a purpose, and they can't contribute to the betterment of their families. And one of the goals would be to impress upon them the idea that their ability to do just that is still very vital.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And feel free to bring that back later as we talk a little bit about that, when I talk about the mitzvah model of service. Thank you.
For me, the word hope really stood out. Just such an unsettling time, and in every situation, the concept of God to me means someone's in charge in addition to what I can add, and that there will be hope and there will be a good outcome to things. Maybe that's a little hopeful. It's hopeful.
Oh, Lisa, that's great. I think that is, almost a sixth sense that we have, that's kind of a fundamental part of being human. And I think I would just add to that hope looks different, and it sounds different at different stages of our lives. And it's important, I think, like when I visit with hospice patients, hope looks different. Hope sounds different, in terms of what can we hope for now, right? So we can hope for example, that the person not struggle and suffer, that there not be any suffering. We hope that the person is not in pain. We hope that they pass peacefully, right? So that's very different than, for example, hoping for a miracle, right? So hope can look and sound, hope is vital, I agree, and can look and sound different at different points. That's at least where I, what I've learned. Anyone else? Okay, so moving on to this next slide. I want to say there's a lot of research that's going on in the field of spirituality, two areas in particular. And these could be separate talks. We could set these up as talks unto themselves. And one is the issue of religion versus spirituality. So there are a lot of surveys that have gone on recently. The Pew Foundation has done a number of them, and other sources, asking people in this country and people living in the industrialized nations of the world whether they identify as religious or spiritual. And I kind of heard that a little bit from some of you when you were talking about spirituality, and you were saying, I'm not really religious, but I do identify as spiritual. And in general, we can say that in this country and in the West, that there's a higher disaffiliation or non-affiliation rate in organized religion among religious communities and institutions. And there's a shift towards a more personal spirituality. So when people fill out these surveys, and I know this from my experience on college campuses, Typically, it's the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, the nuns, people checking off nun, the nun category, when they're asked what religion are they. It's the nuns that get the most votes. And that's a shift that I want to mention, that in general we can notice that's going on. People just feeling that they can't quite relate to religious institutions, to religion, even to God or organized religion. And but that doesn't mean they're not spiritual. And people tell me that all the time. I'm still spiritual, and it means a lot to me. So that's one point I want to make. And the second one on the next slide is another area of some research. And that's the connections between spirituality and or religion and emotional and physical well-being. So we have researchers who are in the clinical settings and are telling us that on a variety of measurements, we can find correlations between people who are involved in religious or spiritual life and have decreased blood pressure and have decreased levels of depression and have increased measures of positive mood. There's a lot more that's part of that research, but I just want to mention that that's also kind of a growing field and something we can turn to learn more about spirituality and its impact on those who are elders, but also for all of us, how spirituality can impact our emotional and physical well-being. So the next point that I want to mention comes from this wonderful book, A Time for Listening and Caring. If we could go back to that the slide before. There we go. Dr. Christina Petricelli is a medical doctor. She teaches at the George Washington University School of Medicine, and she also heads up there the Institute of Spirituality and Health. And as she listens to the elders that she takes care of and has a particular interest in spirituality, she finds these 6 key issues that frail elders face. And again, I think we can relate it to other points of the life cycle, but this is what she says. Typically, they feel a lack of meaning and purpose. They feel a sense of hopelessness. And in my language, they tell me, I'm ready to go, but I'm still here. She finds that they experience despair or regrets. They feel anger at God and others, or they feel a sense of abandonment by God and others. They experience a lack of forgiveness, and they seek reconciliation or wholeness, and they fear not being remembered. So those are some of the primary issues that she writes about. And I could say, most of those come up all the time in my interactions with the elders that I visit with. So let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to present you with some verbatims, some actual text when I visit folks, and then I come out and I write down what they said to me. They're called verbatims. It's part of an exercise I went through when I became a board certified chaplain, but I still do it. I still record what people say to me so that I can think about it and analyze it and try to understand better what it is they're saying. So I'm going to give you their words, and as you hear their voices and their story, here's my question to you. What helps people do better as they age? What helps them do better? What helps us do better as we age? Okay, let's go to the first verbatim. Next slide. So Ms. Cohen, age 90, Jewish, 3 attentive brothers who visit children and grandchildren, and she's a resident at the nursing home for many years. And here's what she says. I've never told this to anyone, I got pregnant when I was 17. My mother and mother-in-law shamed me into marrying him. And I had a severe case of anorexia. It was the only thing I could control. She wept as she revealed an old shame and a deep wound that had followed her for the rest of her life. She wondered, should I tell my son what happened to me? She was flooded with emotion. How does it feel to talk with me about these old wounds? I asked her. Lighter, she said, breathing deeply, much lighter. We say a prayer for self-forgiveness, for understanding, for inner peace. So what helps people do better as they age? As you hear her voice, her story, what are your thoughts, if any? Please unmute and just chime right in.
Hi, this is Eileen.
Hi, Eileen.
Hi. I think in this particular case, I think, and for a lot of people, it's forgiveness, especially forgiving oneself.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. And that I picked up with, and so the prayer included that theme, exactly.
I would also say, you know, offering a listening ear and giving somebody to talk to and you know, without judgment, basically, is also really important.
Thank you, Katie. I really want to underscore what you've said. A lot of people ask, what can I do when I visit somebody? What can I do? And my answer is often a caring, compassionate presence. And you've captured that for us. Thank you.
Hi.
Michelle.
Hi. I'd like to say that that forgiveness of and validation, that they've gone through something terrible, that they're carrying this guilt all their lives, and just allowing them to let it out and validating their feelings and letting them know it's okay to forgive yourself.
Thank you. And there's a healing that's part of that process, isn't there, Michelle?
Yes, there is.
As you describe, as you say what you say, I think of the word healing, how healing that is.
It is, yes.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, this is Sue. I was
Hi,
just
Susan.
going back to, you know, what helps the people do better as they age. I think listening to them without judgment.
Yep.
And like we were talking about, just being there. And as someone whose mother-in-law has dementia, even though she can't communicate with us really, still telling her about what's going on in our lives.
Yes.
Still making her a part, even though she may not understand. She may, you know, I think it's still important to engage.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. You can hear Ms. Cohen's search for wholeness nearing the end of her life. These are deep old wounds. She's still carrying them. The search for wholeness follows us all of our days. Let's go to the next slide, please. Mrs. Cutler, age 87, lives in an assisted living facility, has 2 children, but in the age of COVID, can only recently get a visit from them. She is stone deaf, she cannot ambulate too well and has a lot of pain. Stays in her apartment most of the day. This was, by the way, a recent visit. As I visit with her, it is clear she can't hear me and that her hearing aids don't work very well. I can't hear you, she repeats, clearly frustrated. Mostly, I want you to know that I am ready to go, and if you could help me get that pill that would just end it all, that's really all that I want. She tells me she doesn't understand why hospice can't just give her a pill to end her life. There is not much purpose to it at this point. Next slide. After a few more efforts to speak with her, I get ready to go and promise to come another time. She says, I see you are in a hurry to go. Thinking that perhaps she wants me to stay, I sit down, close my eyes to quiet my confusion, and then reach for my papers. I begin to write out a question for her. Did you consider moving to live near any of your children? Can you tell me about your children? You have lived a long life. Has it been a good life? What was your husband like? What did you enjoy doing together? Did you have any hobbies? Are you lonely? Do you have some regrets at this point in your life? I know you are not so happy now. Were you happy earlier in your life? Next slide. She reads each question, sits back, and launches into a full-blown answer. As we proceed, she is smiling and engaged. She laughs and cries. She pauses, takes a breath, and waits for the next question. Any reactions or thoughts about this visit and what helps people do better as they age?
I think she just wanted someone to listen to what she had to say. She did not feel heard. She felt abandoned.
Yes.
And it caused her to have anger and no purpose. She needed that social connection.
Absolutely. Yes. And that feeling of abandonment that Dr. Petricelli lists, that's very prevalent for many, many of our folks.
Hi, it's Eileen again.
Yeah.
I think another thing, unfortunately, I cut out for me. I'm having a little trouble with connection, so I didn't hear the beginning, is at the end of one's life, when they feel like they have no purpose, why am I still here? Those questions that you asked gave her an opportunity to recall her life with purpose and recall relationships, and whether she cognitively really knew this, remembering that her life does have purpose. It always did. And being here to share those stories with you is another purpose.
Thank you. And we call that life review. That's the process of life review that any of us can engage in with people that we're visiting, people that we're caring for, and give them opportunities to reflect back on their lives, to share it with someone that they think is going to hold their story, as opposed to feeling that no one's going to remember that, either them or their story.
Well, it's making me think of a situation that I didn't handle very well. My ex-mother-in-law, I visit her a lot, and she lives in an independent facility, and she often will say, why am I still here? I don't feel like I have any more life to live. And I find it like it's my position there to say hopeful things, give her all the right answers. Of course you are, you've got a long life. But to have asked her those questions would have really been, a wonderful opportunity. I'm not God. If I had given her the opportunity to share stuff, it probably would have left her smiling. So
that's the pivot into life review, Lisa.
Yeah.
Anyone else? It reminds her that she meant something to others, that there were others that were very dear to her, and that she contributed. She made lots of different contributions. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Some Gentiles come regularly to Friday night Shabbat services at the Jewish Nursing Home Chapel. And here are a couple of quotes. When I ask them, why do you come? I come because God is here. It's not about the labels. I come here and I feel good because I know God is here. So when they say it's not about the labels, meaning it's not about whether you're Jewish or Protestant or Catholic or etc. I come here and I feel good because I know God is here. The second person said, the woman who, so she's just come back from dialysis. This is not in the chapel. The woman who sits with me every time I go to dialysis gave me this. It's called a scapular. It's got a picture of Mary on it, and it's been blessed. She said, this will help guard me and protect my family. I'm a good Jew, but I'm not turning anything down. So any reflections or thoughts about either of these verbatims, these individuals, and as you listen to their voices, what helps people do better as they age?
I think you know, we live our whole life. Some of us do any live our whole lives. We're taught, you know, there's that sort of that three-legged stool about, you know, learning your spirituality that you're born with, that you learn from family, things that you learn in school. And so now you're getting maybe closer to death as you're aging. And it's like, well, you know, yeah, this place, this synagogue, this church makes me feel good. This is where I've always believed I could get in touch with God, but now maybe I can't go anymore. Or what if I'm wrong? What if it is different? Or what if it is bigger than all that? So I think the acceptance or the openness to other ways of thinking and believing, creating more personal access to whatever that spirituality or higher power is, you know, maybe covering your bases, some people would call it.
Yes, Eileen, well put. It's something that I've started calling spiritual flexibility. Right? It's a virtue, spiritual flexibility, and I've come to admire it among my residents. Anybody else?
I think that I agree that is, you know, you start to question, I guess, as you get older, how can this way, according to this religion, be the only way to get to whatever place you go or whatever happens to you and your spirit after you die. And you start to think about it and think, well, okay, maybe it's more than just one religion. Maybe it's just, you know, it's just like these groups. and I want to be, you know, like she said, covering the bases of everything.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
Rabbi, I think it's everybody's looking for that answer. If there's an afterlife, if there's something more, they just want to make sure they get there. They don't care how they get there, right? They don't care through, you know, whether it's Catholicism or Judaism. They just want to make sure they get there. So it's just a matter of there's something bigger. I just want to make sure I'm connecting with it, whatever it is, wherever it is. I just want to make sure I'm connecting with it.
Well put. And notice the second woman. For her, it's not about afterlife or what comes next, if there is such a thing. It's about feeling blessed now, feeling protected now and sheltered. And that's a very warm and cozy feeling about spirituality or religion that means an awful lot to some people. So the scapular, I hadn't heard about that, so I learned about that from her. The next slide, please. Some Jews talking at the Friday night Shabbat services in the nursing home chapel. I am not that religious, but I get a feeling of unity here, like I'm part of the whole, much larger than myself. And there's a warmth that overcomes me, and I feel lifted up. That's that word transcendence again. And then the next paragraph, one congregant holds her piece of challah. That's the traditional twisted egg bread that we use on the Shabbat, on the Sabbath, and she asks out loud as she holds it up, why does this piece of challah taste so much better here than when we eat it tonight on our tray in the dining room? There we just eat it, one person says. Here we share it. The sharing makes it sweeter. Another says, we're eating it in community. We shake hands and we wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. I feel blessed eating it with all of you. Another nods in agreement, because here we eat it together, and so it comes from the heart. Very sweet comments. What are your reactions as you hear these voices, and what helps people do better as they age?
I would say a sense of community, and especially now during COVID, while everything's, you know, people are being so isolated, to kind of bring people back together in some way, kind of gives them a greater, deeper feeling of connection to their spirituality or their religion.
Community. There's a book entitled Life is with People, right? And so life is with people, and especially during COVID, yes, we have to figure out ways to help people continue to feel connected to others. That's why, thank God for Zoom, right? And the technology helping us connect to a family and to sacred communities and others. Thank you. Anybody else?
It made me think of Sunday nights at my grandmother's. I actually live with my grandparents, and every other Sunday we try to have a family dinner. So my cousins, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, we all come and just eat at my grandma's. Family isn't particularly religious in any sort of way, but we still like sitting around the table, and it just, I understand the feeling of food tasting different when you're around your family, your friends, and it's like when I just make mac and cheese for my nieces and nephews, and I'll eat it with them, and I'm like, no, this does taste better. And now I'm thinking like, maybe it tastes better because I'm actually cooking it for someone, and it's not just for me. I'm making it for my, my nieces and nephews. The eldest ones are 8, the youngest one is about to be 3, and it just has a sense of niceness. Like, you're cooking for this tiny little child that can't do much, and you're giving them something so small, but you see their excitement and how they love it, and you think like, wow, this must taste great, even though it's just $1 mac and cheese that you get from a box.
Caregiving as a spiritual act, taking care of others, nurturing them.
I think cooking is just one way of showing love.
Yeah, exactly. Well put. Notice the "we shake hands" comments, the touch, the importance of touch, and often how rare that is for people in certain settings, especially if they're isolated, not feeling that they've been touched in months is what people talk about through COVID. Okay, the next one, please. Next slide. Gratitude. Every night I say a prayer thanking God for my life and my family, asking that everyone be kept well and out of harm's way. If I am dozing off, I try to wake myself up so I don't miss saying the prayer. And in the morning, I try to write it in my journal. It's my gratitude journal. What helps us do better as we age? What do you hear in this comment?
I think gratitude. I'm a firm believer in gratitude. I feel like gratitude helps you to not so much focus on yourself, but on others, which then comes back to you to make you feel good. So it's like this give and take. That's my thought on it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else?
I also think it's the prayer part is feeling a sense of making a difference. This person said, and if I'm dozing off, I try to wake myself up so I don't miss saying the prayer. So along with the gratitude, it's that sense of continuing to make a difference and continuing to be able to be there and keep your loved ones safe, even though maybe you can't cook for them anymore. Maybe you can't send them money. Maybe you can't fight their battles for them. But if you're praying for them, you're still making a difference in keeping them safe.
Nice. Very nice. Yes. Thank you. Notice she keeps a journal. It reminds us that gratitude, and she wants to make sure to write in her journal every day. It reminds me that gratitude is a practice. And that's why we also call spirituality a practice, my spiritual practice. It doesn't just happen automatically, these dispositions of gratitude and kindness and compassion. We have to practice them. They have to really become a deeper part of who we are and how we travel through the world. So spiritual practice. Okay, next slide, please. The mitzvah model. Mitzvah means commandment or good deed, and the model of service. It's all part of what I call mattering. If I had to do the slide over again, I'd put up at the top mattering, M-A-T-T-E-R-I-N-G, the sense of mattering in the world. A resident at the assisted living facility says, I spend an hour every other day writing postcards. We send them to people around the country in the swing states, reminding them to vote and how important it is to cast their ballots. It's the least I can do, she says. So again, what helps us do better as we age? The next one, a resident at the assisted living facility. My job is to water the tomatoes and the basil that we are growing outside during the summer months. I also volunteer to deliver the mail to the residents at the nursing home twice a week. The van takes me over there. The residents love getting their mail and they light up when they see me coming. Any thoughts or reactions? What helps us do better as we age?
Again, I feel like it's similar to gratitude. If you have purpose and you reach out to others and you're, again, not focusing on yourself, but you're focusing on others, and then that comes back to you again, you know?
That's great. And it reminds me, Michelle, that good spirituality, it's not about just about an inner sense of peace, for example. It's not about just going inward. It's about service outward.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
To
Anybody
me,
else?
it's almost like a chemical reaction can happen in your brain. I remember feeling very depressed about something, and then I just went out and bought something for somebody that I knew they would like, and it was like, wow, turned my whole thought process around.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't know, less ego, less ego. And for sure, I'd like to believe you will feel better if you're not thinking about yourself all the time.
Thank you. I'd like to take that last phrase that you've used, less ego. And I'd like to go to the last slide, actually, because I'm mindful of our time. So if we could skip the next two and go to spiritual sources, please. Because I think what we are coming to regarding spirituality at all stages of our lives is this sense of less ego and more soul. And that's the distinction we hear in this quote from Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen, who's also a medical doctor with a serious interest and author in works on spirituality. So she says as follows, and this will be my concluding offering. Helping, fixing, and serving represent three different ways of seeing life. When you help, you see life as weak. When you fix, you see life as broken. When you serve, you see life as whole. Fixing and helping may be the work of the ego, but service is the work of the soul. So finding opportunities throughout life to feel like we can serve, we can contribute, we can give to others gives tremendous meaning to our lives, and helps us feel truly like our soul is radiating within. So let me pause and turn it back to you, Marianne and Christina, and I guess we will take questions near the end.
Yeah, Rabbi, thank you so very much. I'm hoping that everybody really enjoyed, but I do want to take this time. I know that we did kind of have it interactive and people really spoke during the presentation, but if anybody has any additional questions, please don't hesitate to raise your hand or just speak up, unmute yourself and speak up, because we want to be able to have your questions answered. If by chance it seems like it's a little bit more personal, you could always message me and I could get you direct contact information for Rabbi Devora, and she would be more than happy to answer any of the questions you may have that might be a little bit more personal to you. But, do we have any other questions that she may be able to answer for you?
I just have a comment. It's not a question. And I don't know if anyone else has heard this in discussion, but well, if there was a God, how could this happen? How could he let this happen? How could he let my cousin's son die? You know, those kind of questions I hear that a lot. And I don't know, my response is usually, well, there's always going to be pain and sorrow, but we're supposed to be there to pick up the slack. You know, it's our job to reach out, whether it's on a big level of, you know, helping in a food bank or just being a friend to somebody. It's our job, because this life is not going to be without struggle. And sadly, some people think there is no higher power or God because there is pain. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Anyone else?
There's a comment here from Eileen. Music is so important, and I find with our seniors, it touches them in ways other things don't. Maybe that once did, especially our dementia residents. Music clearly touches their souls. Yes, absolutely. I think we can all agree. Music can transport us, all of us, with dementia, without dementia. It can transport us. It can bring back treasured times, treasured memories. Music can be very healing.
You've got a comment there too from Susan Wilson. The sixth sense, especially for me, resonates.
Okay.
For a lot of us, more spiritual than religious. Really, a sixth sense is something we feel, you know, from the inside out, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Anyone else with any other questions?
Questions or comments?
I just want to thank you, Deborah and Mary Ann and Christine, for putting this together. It's been a while since I've been to anything like this, either in person, certainly never on Zoom. And it's a topic and issue that is often handled poorly, if handled at all. And I think it was wonderful. So thank you for putting it out there.
So I do have a message. Eileen, you're welcome. I was very excited when we put this together, but I just have another comment from somebody who had to sign off, from Lori. Rabbi, she wants you to make a series of this. So we need to do this more on a regular basis. I think for people, sometimes they don't talk about their you know, spirituality, and I think it's something that really people resonate with in their own way. So to talk about it in a forum like this, I think is good. I think it's good. I think it's healing for everybody involved.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree. I feel like it was really good for me personally to kind of connect, but also to see how it applies to the older adults that we work with and the community and everything. So it was good on all aspects, and I really appreciate your time with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent.
I think there was one slide which was the woman was Jewish, but she was holding on to scapular of Mary, and it just makes me realize that every faith, every particular, you know, every particular religion, there's so much to be gained from every single faith. There's so much to learn and use as a positive in your life, no matter if you call yourself Jewish or Christian or Catholic or whatever, Buddhist, whatever.
Yeah, so it reminds me, Lisa, of probably was a Buddhist teaching that said something like, there is one truth, but there are many paths.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Deborah, thank you so very much. It was incredibly fulfilling for me and hopefully for everybody else. So much useful information. If anybody doesn't, if no one has any other questions or comments, I am going to give you the, we've got a comment here. Michael, thank you for this event. He really enjoyed it. And then Carol also seconded the series. So Rabbi, I think you're gonna need to look into that.
Thank you all very much for jumping in and offering your very thoughtful comments. You know, I was trying that out to see if we could do that. And you had courage and you took some risks speaking personally, and that makes the experience for all of us much richer. So I do want to thank you all very much.
Nice. And I want to thank everybody for attending. I want to pick the raffle winner. We do have a handy dandy $25 gift card. So I don't know if Howard is not on this Lunch and Learn, but he was on the last one, because the next Lunch and Learn will be on us. So if you get the $25 gift card. So while I make sure I have all the names of the attendees submitted, we have put together a short video to showcase our safety efforts, because I know at this time people are really questioning how we keep people safe and just in general, healthcare in general. So we've got a short, very short safety video, and then we will be back in a flash with our winner. So give me a second to share my screen again. Hang on. Hang on one second. Let me grab it. Okay. Here we go, and I will be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Karen Petricelli, Vice President of Clinical Quality and Education. All of us at Chelsea Jewish Life Care and JGS Life Care are strongly committed to the safety and well-being of our residents and employees. Whether you choose short-term rehab, long-term care, our assisted living, adult day health, or home health and hospice, we maintain the same high safety quality standard. Your interactions with us will be a bit different than before. We follow CDC guidelines, Massachusetts Department of Public Health regulations, and have placed extensive measures into effect for your safety. Our goal is to keep you, your loved ones, and our staff safe and healthy. You will see changes as soon as you enter our properties. While we once had an open door for all, we are now directed to limit those entering our building to those that are essential and vital to patient care. All those who enter our building are required to wear a mask. Our staff who care for residents in their home are also required to wear a mask. Temperature checks are required on our staff and all others who enter our buildings on all shifts. A symptom screening questionnaire is completed and recorded. Hand hygiene is essential for the prevention of the spread of germs. Hand washing stations and reminders are strategically placed throughout our facilities. Hand sanitizer stations are available for your use. Chelsea Jewish Life Care and JGS Life Care maintain a supply of PPE for the protection of our staff and our residents. The donning and doffing of PPE is necessary to prevent the spread of germs. A PPE coach is available on all shifts for the support and as a resource to our staff. Our buildings and touch surfaces are cleaned more frequently throughout the day. Patient areas and common spaces are sanitized and fogged. Social distancing is now the norm in all our communities, and space has been provided to meet this requirement. Chelsea Jewish Life Care and JGS Life Care are truly honored to be selected by our residents and families to provide high quality care. Together, we will work to make everyone safe. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you soon, and be well.
All right. So that was, I know, like I said, everybody has a little bit of question on safety and cleanliness. And I mean, especially with flu season coming, it gets, you know, it gets a little nerve-wracking. So I wanted to be able to share that. We do have a winner for our $25 gift card. Michelle, are you still here? There, yeah. And you just saw your name. So you are the winner. I'm going to have to figure out, we could meet. I do socially distanced coffee. My outside office is located at the Long Meadow Shops. I buy you a coffee at Starbucks, and there's a bench on the side near Delaney's that is 6 feet. So we can on either end, and I can hand deliver this, or you can actually send me your email, and I would be more than happy to mail it to you. But congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Absolutely. And I really enjoyed this. This is Rabbi, I can't thank you enough. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, we've got a couple of comments, which is nice also. And we do have, so not that we want to discount what Devorah had. Oh, we've got that. We also have a new, next month, another one. Oh, here we go. Wednesday, October 7th, 2020, 12 o'clock noon, same thing, lunch and learn till 1:15 with Dr. Neil Epstein. I know that I told a couple of you about this. This is going to be Medicare benefits. So if you would like to RSVP for that, we will send out an invite. I've got everybody's email address. We will make sure that you are invited. But again, Rabbi Devorah, this was fantastic. I'm sure I'm hoping that everybody enjoyed it as much as I did, because I certainly did. The lunch and learns that Ruth's House provides, Christina, I want to say thank you to you, because you guys have started this on the campus and we love it. And we're grateful to be able to offer this via Zoom, because now through all things COVID, it does get a little crazy. So and I'm learning every day on Zoom and how to do different things. And Christina taught me how to do split screen this morning right before. So we learn as we go along. I mean, really, it's a process. But the next one will be great as well. Everybody has a lot of questions about Medicare benefits. Seems like it gets very confusing. What's your primary? What's not your primary? You know, the ones that are secondary. Are they secondary? People think it's, you know, they have Medicare when they find out they really don't. Medicare is a secondary. So he'll discuss the ins and outs. And then also, I just, again, want to thank everybody for joining us. I encourage you to give us any and all feedback. We really want to make the Lunch and Learn series really great for everybody. And I know that if we can make them better by suggestions from you guys, that would be the best thing. So please, my email's up there if you want to jot that down. Send me any comments or questions or a better way to do something. I would love to hear it, because again, we're trying to make these great for everybody to be able to get on while they're eating lunch and learn a little something in a community setting. So again, thank you very much. I really appreciate everybody being here. I really hope to see you guys next time. And if you have any comments at all, my email's up there, like I said. And otherwise, thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a great day.
Stay well, everyone. Thank you.
Be well.
Bye-bye.